I think twins gives you some kind of superpower eventually. You start to feel this within your body and you're like, I can do this. I had twins. I can do anything. I can put myself out there. So I did. And it's been such a positive experience.
Hello, and welcome to the Twin Mom Life Podcast. I'm your host, Jess. I created this podcast to help build community, connection, and most importantly, friendships among moms of multiples. Being a twin mom can be amazing and magical. That twin bond is unlike anything I've ever witnessed, but it can also be isolating and overwhelming. I'll be chatting with other twin moms, diving deep into the twin experience, giving advice on what works for us so you don't have to learn the hard way. Juggling two babies at the same time is challenging, but I'm confident we can learn from each other and figure out how to raise these babies together. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Today we have Lauren Love. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me and starting this podcast. I listen all the time on my evening walks.
Yay!
So it's nice hearing the twin moms share their experience. And like while I'm walking, I'm constantly thinking, like, yeah, me too. I totally get that. So it's so nice that it resonates with everyone. So, like I just said, I'm Lauren. I live in Connecticut. I have four beautiful children, all girls. I'm a girl mom, and I have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, and 8-month-old twin girls. So it's a very busy, beautiful, blessed time. I was saying this morning, it's actually finally sunny here in New England today. And after such a cold, rainy holiday weekend, our weather has been so wacky lately. It's like AC, heat, nobody knows what to do.
Same.
My older daughter loves just wearing shorts to school. Like, I don't know what it is. She loves shorts. So finally, I was like, "Guess what? It's a shorts day." And she was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a good day today."
That's so cute. A girl after my own heart. I'm like, who likes pants? They're
Yeah,
so restricting.
I know. Who wants to wear those pants anymore? So I was like, "You know what? It is gonna be a really good day." I like those positive affirmations. You got
Yes,
this.
yes, I love that, that if she can wear shorts, then that equals good day. Love it. The simplicity,
Right?
it's fantastic. And have you filled your cup today
Yeah.
so far, or do you have any plans to do so?
I filled a little bit this morning. I say I'm halfway full. I filled by, I did get dressed. I put on some makeup. I did my hair. I was like, my husband's like, it's a podcast. I was like, it's the fact of feeling good in your body. You want to like, you look good, you feel good. So I did that. I got myself a special little coffee this morning as a little treat. And later, I'm gonna fill the rest of it. I'm going on the mom walk with some moms later, so it's nice to connect and talk and things. So I'll be totally filled.
I love that. Well, you look fantastic, and
Thank
I
you.
love getting a special treat coffee. What's your go-to special coffee order?
So I am definitely an iced coffee girl. Love my iced coffee. And I love all the like foams
Yes.
now. Like you could get like a like a foam on top. I was like, it just elevates my iced coffee in a way that I can't do at
Mhm.
home. So I love a little bit of foam on top. I'm not a sugar person, but the foam is enough to get me through my day. And it was delicious.
I love that. So is your mom walk just moms?
Yeah, so it's usually just moms. Finally, after this weekend, I feel like everybody was cooped up inside with their kids, and we're kind of like, we gotta walk, we gotta do something. So, yeah, we usually go. It's a lot of moms. Some moms have older kids and just come to walk. Some have strollers, some have kids. So, we usually will go for a little walk, kind of just talk, resonate for a while, get some steps in.
Yeah, that's so great, and so nice to be able to talk
Yeah,
and move your body at the same time. So, I love
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's
All
so
of
great.
that, like, just what a
Great.
great day, and I love that you have multiple little things throughout the day that will just keep filling your cup. So, that's
Yeah,
great.
and it's like, with your kids all day, you gotta find things that will fill your cup with your kids
Yes,
too. There's the me time, there's the kid time, that's a nice balance.
absolutely. I feel the same way. So, I was just telling you off air, we're on summer break, and it's been really fun so far. I mean, we're only a couple of days in, but I am trying to figure out how to fill my cup, like you said, while everyone is still here. So, I've been trying to wake up a little bit earlier before everybody so I can try to have a little bit of coffee in peace and start the day just like in a calm way before everyone is up and chaotic and ready to play. This is so random, but this filled my cup in like a nostalgic way. So, have you ever had a food or a smell or something that brings you back to a memory?
Yeah, it's
Isn't
so
that okay?
yeah.
So this morning I bought Dave's Killer Bread, but it's cinnamon raisin flavor, and I haven't bought that in
Mm,
forever. But when I was pumping with the boys, I always had a midnight snack, literally, because that's when I would do a pumping session. And I always made that bread, 2 pieces of toast, and I made it like a bagel. So I did it with cream cheese and then like slices of strawberry, and I was obsessed with it. I had
mm.
this every night at midnight for months. I was hyper fixated on it. And then I got over it. I've had this 100 times. And so I haven't bought it in forever, but I made that for breakfast and it was so good. And I don't know, I just was reflecting like, my boys are going to be 3 in 2 weeks and I can't really believe that. And
Um,
I'm like, look how far we've come. So that was just a kind of a random moment. I don't know if it necessarily filled my cup, but it was fun to reflect on and kind of nostalgic and delicious. So that was good.
yeah.
And I try to go to yoga once a week, and we have been in, I would say the last 5 weeks have just been very chaotic. All 3 of my children have had a trip to urgent care or ER in the
Oh
past
my
5
god.
weeks. So I feel like
Yeah.
my time to fill my cup outside of my family has been really minimal, and I have not gone to yoga in a while. So I am going to yoga tonight.
Yeah, you
Yes,
need that yoga.
I'm really excited about that. So that's how I'm gonna fill my cup later, and then the little things that have kind of filled my cup this morning. So,
I love that. I love that. Yeah, that nostalgia is so real. I do it with sometimes like when you make like my grandmother had a recipe of like an Easter pie and like I make it every year on Easter and it's like once you like taste it, smell it, it like brings you right back. It's never as good. Never as good. But it's like that memory. You're like, oh, this brings back such a time where I, felt this way or things this way. It's so funny how your body like does that with
yes,
senses and things.
I wasn't even thinking about that when I bought the bread. I was just like, "Oh, that sounds good." And then it brought me back to this time, and I wasn't expecting that, and it was pretty cool. Okay, what's Easter pie? Like,
Yeah.
what flavor is it?
It's like a rice pie. So we're Italian, and it's like a ragout, a rice pie, and it's like so basic. It's like white rice, ragout, eggs. Like you just put it all together and bake it. But they call it
Yum.
like Italian Easter pie. It's delicious. But yeah, it's like so nostalgic for me. Of like she always made it every year, and it's just brings me right back.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
Fun and different. I've never heard of a rice pie before. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your family and, like, finding out you're pregnant with twins and how that pregnancy and delivery went?
Yeah. So like I said, I have 2 older girls. They're 8 and 5. I really thought that I was kind of done having children. I, was a little bit more up there in some maternal age and, my husband and I were kinda like, if a third happens, it happens. My husband and I have been it's crazy. We're gonna be married 10 years, this August.
We are celebrating 10 years too in July. I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh. I know,
Mhm.
right? It's, like, crazy. I actually had to think about it the other day, like, sometimes, like, when somebody asked me my age too the other day, I had to think about it, I don't know why, but I
Same.
had to think about it, and same thing with the wedding anniversary, I was like, "Oh my god, that's 10
Mhm.
years." So, yes, so I never honestly ever expected to be a twin mom, to, have twins, I love it, but it's changed me and blessed me in so many ways. When I found out I was pregnant, I was by myself in the appointment. It was my third pregnancy. It's kind of routine, things like that. My husband was like, it's during pickup. Let me grab the girls. You go, and we'll chat later. Great chat later. They did the ultrasound. And there's 2, have my little hyperventilation on the table, but then, was able to walk out calmly, got all the way to the car, all the way to the car, and I called him, and either he just couldn't speak for a really long time or dropped the phone, not really sure, but I was very composed that I got all the way to the car first, and then I told him, and I keep saying, like, I walked into that appointment thinking, like, I had such a plan, like, I'm a planner, I like things, and I left realizing I have no plan at all. I've just lost complete plans. But, like, I had an overall, like, very great pregnancy, and I'm so grateful for that. I made it to 36 weeks. I left work on a Friday. My water broke Saturday night, and my twins were born Sunday morning.
That's great.
So it was very like 1, 2, 3, like I said, plus pregnancy, and they were considered growth restricted during my pregnancy, but they came out. I did have a C-section, and it ended up being a really great decision at the time. There was only one doctor who would do the vaginal trans or turn, and didn't happen to be there the night I went in. So it was a, quick pivot of decisions, and it ended up being fine and great. Both girls came out. My twin A, Eleanor, came out first. She was 4'10", and then a couple minutes later, excruciating minutes, but Claire came out second, twin B, and she was 4'12". So they were both tiny, but I was very fortunate. Just NICU for observation for their blood sugars. So I was very blessed and very fortunate, especially I feel like having the other two kids at home to, not have that experience on. So I thank, God every day for that. And I have to say, my OB was great. My anesthesiologist was like sent from an angel. Like it really was a great experience. I was pumping in the hospital. They were getting formula too. Had to keep those, blood sugars stable, and, had to get them fed. And the best way to do that was to give them formula. So that's what they got. And, we stayed in the hospital, and then we came home. They was, like, identical almost in weight, ounces, length, everything. My, eh, twin A, Eleanor, has a hemangioma on her head, and I felt like that was the only way I could kinda tell them apart at first. They were so, like, not one bigger than the other. I was like, "Let's leave the hospital bracelets on just for, like, 1, 2 nights." I was like, "I need to get that mom sense or something to be able to tell them apart." But we came home, and everything, like I said, it was I was blessed. I really was.
That's great. That sounds like it was such a good experience, and it's so nice to be able to have a good medical team that you feel comfortable with and supported by and all of that, so that's great. And I had a very similar situation with my boys. They were 1 ounce different, and I was so afraid of mixing them up. So my son, baby B, has a birthmark on his leg, but it's on his upper thigh. And newborns are always wearing like little pajamas. So if we really
Mhm.
mix them up, we could like look. But we had a difficult time telling them apart also, especially in the beginning. I feel like all newborns kinda look the same, and then when they're almost the exact weight and the exact height, you have no other real markers to tell. So, I feel you on that so much.
I know. I felt almost embarrassed. I was like, "I'm their mother. I should be able to tell them apart. I should be able to do this." But yes, and then eventually Eleanor's hemangioma has become a little bit bigger. So like other people now are like instantly tell them apart. My girls are technically fraternal, die fraternal, but I am very tempted. Like I said, I don't know who I was
I
talking
think
to. I
yes, I
think I
think
was
we were
messaging
talking
you,
about
and I
it.
was like, yeah, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm really tempted to order one of those kits off Amazon because I really think they might be identical.
Okay, I've talked about this before on the podcast, but we were told that our boys were fraternal because they're
Yeah.
different Zacks, different placentas. So we were like, okay. And then we did do the NIPT testing and then found out that they were identical boys. And we were like, mind blown. So I know so many moms who think their twins are fraternal because they're but end up being identical. So you should
Yeah.
totally do it because, you can just do a cheek swab. So
Yeah.
it's non-invasive, it's not like you're having to do a blood test or anything. So, oh my gosh, I am so curious to know if they're identical or not. Because
No.
now I feel like once our boys were like, honestly, more like 6 months, we could really tell them apart. But those newborn stages, the first 3 months, it was honestly like eeny, meeny, miny, moe. I don't know. Even now, I'll look back at like baby pictures and I'm like, okay, I can tell them apart. But our newborn pictures, the only reason I know is because Wyatt had a little bit thicker hair. So if he wasn't wearing like a beanie, which they were a lot of the times, but if they weren't, I can tell him, oh, I only know that's Wyatt because his hair's thicker. It's
I know, it's so yeah, when we had the newborn pictures and it was like, "Oh, it's like I really wanna get one of each one of them," printed things. I'm like, "I really can't tell." To be honest, it's like when I couldn't see, it was like, I mean, I think this is great. They're both together in this picture. That's what we're gonna
Mhm.
print.
Yes. Well, okay, and this is maybe like a what not to do. So I don't think I've shared this on the podcast, maybe on my Instagram, but I'll say this quickly, like maybe don't do this to not mix up your twins. So my son's names are Waylon and Wyatt. So alphabetical order W-A, Waylon, W-Y, Wyatt. I always put them that
Mm.
way in their bassinet. And Wyatt already had a little bit of torticollis, like neck tightness, because he was baby A. And I mean, they were both squished, right? Like baby A was head down, but baby B was transverse. Like they were really squished in there. But because I always put them in the same spots in the bassinet, Wyatt always was turning towards his brother. And he ended up having to have a cranial helmet because he had, gosh, I don't want to say the technical term wrong, but he had a flat spot. And we tried so hard. We did physical
Yeah.
therapy, we did chiropractor, and Waylon was able, like his was more minimal, so he didn't need a helmet, but Wyatt needed a helmet. So maybe don't do what I did to not mix them up and make sure that you're moving their spots in the bassinet so they don't get a flat spot on their head and need a cranial helmet. Oh my goodness.
Oh my yeah, I know. I always did that too, and I mean, with the cribs now too, it's like this one goes here, this one goes here, and I did that. And my doctor literally said to me, because one was getting a little bit of a flat spot, they were like, "You gotta switch it up, maybe with this." And I was like, "Well, how do you switch it up?" She's like, "Switch the sides of the bassinet." And I was like, "Oh, I couldn't have thought of that." So I was like but yes, it was a real thing.
Mhm.
So, I agree.
Yes, so just be cautious about that and learn from my expensive mistake. It was so funny, it was not covered by our health insurance. I think our letter said, "We recognize that your son has a misshapen head." That was like the phrasing, but not enough.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
but not enough for medical intervention or something. And we were like, "We have to do this." Because I was also reading, and we can move on from this, but I was also reading that, like, it's not just cosmetic, it's can affect the shape of your sinuses if things are not symmetric, so and my husband was like, "Can't we just get a helmet from Walmart?" And I'm like, "Sweetie, no, I wish, but this is like they measure their head and it's specific, and it is not a bicycle helmet that you can buy from Amazon."
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very
I know,
expensive.
that makes sense though that, like yeah, very expensive helmet that oh my gosh, it's always keep you on your toes, right? Always
Yes,
something.
yeah, and we were very lucky too to have no NICU time. We were in the hospital for a couple of days, so we've had some things happen after the hospital, but it's all been minimal, like the cranial helmet and things like that, so thankful for that as well. Can you tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your postpartum experience? I know we were talking about I feel like all moms in general experience postpartum issues, brain fog. I keep saying brain frog. Maybe I have some brain fog, but I feel like it is definitely worse with twins. So, can you tell us about your experience with that?
I think, everything is magnified with twins, to a new
Mhm.
way. I felt like I had 2 maternity leaves previously with my other 2 daughters. I only took 12 weeks each time, and I went back to work. This time I felt like it looked very different for me. I had planned to take off the whole year ahead of time, so things were just feeling different to start. I had the other 2 my other one was born during COVID, that was a different time. Your first maternity leave is so different. So this one was, yes, a seasoned mom, but totally different feel for maternity leave. And it is such like a super special bonding time, and I would never take it for granted, and I was very fortunate, but I feel like, especially with twins, it could feel a little isolating.
Yes.
And, I'm a little more introverted, I would say, so sometimes it's easy for me to just kinda lean into that. And, getting out felt like an operation of, like, what do I bring? 2 other kids, packing for weekend trips to go to, the library. So it was just, like, sometimes it just kinda felt like that little lonely bit of, like, I wasn't going back to work for a time. I didn't have necessarily, like, scheduled events in my days. Kinda started to feel like my Groundhog Day over and over again. Um, so it kinda pushed me to start connecting more, even though it felt uncomfortable, going for walks, going to the library, eventually trying to build, a group of moms that I could connect with and creating opportunities for the community. And it just brought moms together in a way that I didn't feel the first times around. And so I felt like I needed this sense of community in a different way, and I had to create it almost. And it was such, kind of an important message that if something doesn't exist or you're not looking for it, you have to step out and build it or create it. And you're not helping yourself, but you might be helping other moms who need it too. So it was one big piece of my maternity leave. And I feel like I'm still, learning each day what that connection feels like and what it feels like we moved into our house 3 years ago. So we're new to the community. Like I said, I had older mom friends, but this was a way to connect in a different way and kind of fill up my time and feel like I had purpose and, past just being a mom.
Absolutely. I think that is so huge. So my daughter was also born in COVID, so I had a very weird postpartum experience. We weren't out a lot. And then as she got older, we are doing all of the activities. We are doing mommy and me dance. We are doing all of the things that we were really deprived of during COVID. So I feel like I was able to take her out, having only one kid, and do all of these activities. And then the boys were born, and getting out of the house just to go on a walk was like, okay, have they fed? Have I changed their diapers? Is my toddler good? When do I need to pump next? And there were all of these logistics where getting out of the house and simply going on a walk or like going to get coffee with a friend was a logistical nightmare. And I'm kind of over it now, but I feel like I had a lot of guilt. Like I never did a mommy and me class with my boys. It was like, how? I would need my mom or my husband to come with me or something to be able to manage two babies. So I feel like I had to mourn that a little bit and just slowly building community is so important because being a twin mom, especially in the beginning, can feel really isolating. So how exactly did you build that community? And is that referring to like the moms and that you guys are going on a walk tonight? Like, is that the community that you've built?
Yeah, yeah. I think that originally we have like some town, like, Facebook groups or different things where people post. And, I had posted saying, like, is there any type of groups for like, not just necessarily like a music and me, but moms maybe who just go for walks or meet up or talk. And so many people responded back saying, like, I don't know, but I would love to do
Oh,
this, or let me know if that's what you do. And at first, I, like, had it in my drafts to post for, like, a really long time, being like, "Oh my gosh, do I do this?" Like, I'm a little nervous.
it's hard to put yourself out there.
Yeah, and, like, they're gonna be like, "She has no friends. She does that," so I finally did it, and it was like, wow, so many people wanted it. And so we went into, like, a little chat at first where we would do definitely walks. We met up at a couple playgroup places, library, all sorts of different type of little things. We tried for, like, once a week. When the weather's been nicer, we've been able to do a couple different things. We've done a couple, happy hours, like, just little get together even without the kids, and then it turned into now we have, like, a bigger group. I think we have, like, over 100 moms in it.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it turned into something really quick and big, kind of without even, thinking. That's not what my intention was. That wasn't it was just to kinda do this for myself too, because I needed this for my little mental well-being as well. And it turns out so many other people felt like they needed it too, I guess. And so yeah, now we have a big group, and we do, people have even branched off from there and made more friendships and things. So it's been really nice to see. And I never would have in a million years, my other self would have been like, you would never do that. So I think twins gives you some kind of superpower eventually. You start to feel this within your body and you're like, I can do this. I had twins. I can do anything. I can put myself out there. So I did. And it's been such a positive experience. I met so many women, twins, singletons, everything. It's just been so cup filling.
That's amazing. And I mean, over 100 moms, that is so incredible and just shows that there was a major need. And I love that you guys do play dates, walks, and also happy hours and stuff like that with just moms. I started doing twin play dates, and we're going to have our third one on Friday. I'm really excited about it, but we haven't done anything like, outside of that with a happy hour or something where just moms can connect, and I think that's a really great idea because I love getting our kids together and being able to chat that way. But, when you're at a play date, you can connect and your kids can connect, but there are so many interruptions. And you're like, oh, we got to
Mhm.
talk about this one thing for 3 minutes and then got interrupted. So I love that you can just have focused mom time. And that is so incredible. So this was all just stemmed from a Facebook post.
Yeah, just from a Facebook post, and we're having a mom's night out shop coming up in June, a sip and shop. So just different ways to get the community involved too, and yeah, it just started from a Facebook post, and it just kind of took off from there.
Okay, so if someone is listening and wanted to connect, if they're in like a similar area, how would they do that? And can you also say how to connect with you like on Instagram and stuff?
Yeah, sure. So if we're even in a similar area, we have a Facebook group and it's called Moms Connect. It's through, I can help you get in through my Instagram. My Instagram is lauren.j.love. And it's just, yeah, if you're local and you're in the area, we'd love to have you join us. And, or if you are not local in the area, be your little bit of motivation to maybe reach out and do it in your area. Cause I'm sure that there's so many other moms who would love it. And it's just a secret, not like a secret society at this point, but like a different way of like connecting that I didn't know. And even when I was like, my mom was like, yeah, I used to go to play groups back then. We used to have tons of play groups. I was like, I know, but this is like, play groups and things to connect. We talk, people, it's just, it is nice. It is so nice. And like you said, it's more than 3 minutes sometimes when we're out without kids about conversations and just sharing, talking, and just kind of to be in that like, what it feels like to be out with your kid not with your kids for a second too.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And I'm just really impressed by the growth. And like I said, it just shows there was like a major need, and a lot of moms wanted that type of community also. I know this isn't twin specific, but how many out of the 100 moms, how many would you say have twins, just out of curiosity?
So crazy that there are at least 5 or 6 that have twins in our community, which has been so nice because we all live in I mean, it's not a huge town, but we all live in this town and we're like, "Oh, wow, we have a whole little twin mom group going on in a bigger group of a town." And they're all varying ages, but it's really nice to especially the twin moms I think have connected even outside of it to be like a lot of them have twins that are like 15, 16 months, so they're in a different, phase than I'm in versus, someone else, so that piece has been nice to not feel so isolated.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so important in regard to twin mom friends. Like, it's, of course, like, I kind of see it as three tiers. Like, it is so great to have twin moms who have the same age kids as you because you're in the same stage and your kids can play together and things like that. And I think it's so nice to have a twin mom friend who has twins older than your twins. So you can like spitball,
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, this is happening. What did you do in this scenario? And then on the opposite end, to have twin mom friends with twins who are younger than yours so that you can give that mentorship that you have received from other twin moms. So I love that. And I think all three of those friendships and twin different ages are so beneficial. So how exciting that just, like, has me all pumped up too, and it makes me want to expand our twin group more to just going beyond just having the twin play dates. So, thank
Yeah.
you for
Yeah, I think it's
inspiring
such
me.
a need there. Yeah, I inspire anybody who yeah, I think it's such a need, and it's so funny how, it I like I said, never expected, but it was such a I think so many people even said, "I've been thinking about it, I've been thinking about it," and I was like, "Yeah, it's really hard to act on it sometimes because it took me a really long time," but, like I said, it has been this such a shift in my mindset, my everything to just look forward to having these events, connecting with these moms, and really, it's been amazing.
That's so great, and I know we were talking earlier about just how postpartum can be a really difficult time, not even just that 4th trimester, but on. Postpartum isn't just the 6 weeks after you have twins or a baby. It I think postpartum
Yeah.
is like after you have kids, you're, in that
Yeah.
phase of life. So what else do you feel like you have done to help in that postpartum phase?
Yeah, I so agree. I feel like, so many people are like, "You go to your postpartum 6-week checkup or 8-week checkup, okay." you're on your way, you know? And I feel like, postpartum can be as long as you want your body to
Mhm.
feel it. I mean, as long as you feel it's postpartum, a year, 5 years, 6 months, it just really your body, your space, and what that postpartum can feel like. I have PCOS, which is now PMOS. So I've had it my whole entire life since I was 16. So lived those ups, those downs. I did not have there's so many a range of symptoms or different things you can feel anywhere from, hormonal imbalance, insulin resistance, some infertility. I was very fortunate on my end. I did not have the infertility, but that is a big, people definitely experience that. The weight, the fatigue, inflammation, so many pieces of that, irregular periods, my whole life, so those pieces I think hit me more after my twin pregnancy. My body was just all over the place. My hormones were raging in different ways, in a way that I felt like I need to do something for my
Hmm.
body because I felt like I was not being the best mom. Like I wasn't showing up to be the best mom that I could be. I felt like I was a little snappy. I mean, yes, I was tired. Everybody's tired, but I feel like I was not showing up to be the best mom that I could be. And I needed to start taking care of myself a little bit from the inside out to show up to be the mom that I wanted to be for them, for my older girls, my twins, everything. And that started with taking care of myself. And before it's like, we're moms, we put everybody else first. Sometimes we have to be a little selfish and take care of our bodies in order to take care of everybody else. So I started really focusing in on my hormone health and taking care of my body and really looking at those symptoms and those pieces that were contributing to these outbreaks I would have, or, these feelings of, my mood, my fatigue, my breakouts, everything. So I started really looking at it inside out. And I dove myself almost down rabbit holes of like reading things, researching, looking at ingredients, doing all these things. And then finally coming to myself, be like, let me just create a nice balance for myself. I want to create a balance. I want to, take care of my inside out, but I'm not an extremist on the other end. So I really focused in on things like my stress, my cortisol, my sleep when I could, very, very hot topic of things, but my blood sugar, my overall nutrition. And I feel like going to those root causes of things and going back to basics and supporting my bodies in like simple consistent ways, not only supported myself, but I was able to feel good in my body again, feel like myself again. And even before I had my twins, I felt like my body, there were definitely things I could have done for my body. And I think it pushed me afterwards to, I had 4 daughters. I want them to look at me and not say, oh, she talked about her weight or she talked about this. I'm there. I have 4 daughters and I want to be their role model. And they're always watching what I'm doing. So I needed to start thinking about what my choices look like and how I could be a healthy version of myself to reflect on them.
Absolutely. That's so huge. And I feel like it's just crazy how much like your nutrients and what you're putting into your body affects your hormones and your mood. And I feel like the episode that I had with Allegra from Aloha Nutrition was so eye-opening of like
Mhm.
how many moms are under eating and just how that affects their body. And I don't want to butcher this, I'll have to check, but I think she was saying that like something crazy like 93% of moms are nutrient depleted. I need to check to make sure, but I was like, "That
Crazy.
is
Yeah.
so all of us? That's absolutely
Mhm.
wild." And I feel like one thing that I have tried to do recently, especially as my kids are becoming a little bit more self-sufficient, this is not easy to do when you have babies, especially twin babies. But a lot of times
Mhm.
during meals, I would stand and if someone needs something, I'm like, I'm not really eating. I'm like filling up people's water bottles and oh, someone wants their fruit cut differently. I'm not sitting and eating. I'm like assisting others, which I'm happy to do as a mom, but like you said, there are some instances where you need to put yourself first. So, what I've been saying now is, I'm going to finish my food and then I'll be happy to refill your water or get you more strawberries or whatever. But letting them know that me eating and taking care of my body is also important. And I feel like I really didn't start doing that until recently. And I feel like it really hit home when you are talking about wanting to be a good role model for your daughters. I have a daughter and I just completely understand that. And I feel like, we grew up in a time where there were magazines shaming people in bathing suits and the diet culture.
That Cosmo in
Yes, it was
17.
wild, and all the diet
Mhm.
culture, like, no carbs, carbs are bad, Atkins diet, Special K diet, eat cereal 3 times a day and lose weight. I mean, it was wild, so I feel like we have to do a lot of that unlearning, and I try really hard to watch what I say in front of my daughter, especially about my appearance or my body. Because you're right, like our voice becomes their internal voice. And I always talk about like if I'm going to yoga or I'm working out, I'm doing that to be strong. Where maybe even 10 years ago, or maybe less, I would have been like, oh, I'm doing this to be skinny. So just having to like switch that mind shift of what we were growing up with and how different that is now. So I think it's a good thing that it's becoming more common to make sure that you are eating enough. Like I feel like there are a lot more accounts talking about like, your macros and your protein should be high and so should your fats and carbohydrates. There isn't
Mhm.
a lot of pushing diet culture anymore. And I'm thankful for that because it was really overwhelming growing up with that.
Yeah, that diet culture and that, like, I have to be skinny, not strong, but just skinny it was so real. Like calorie depletion, like don't eat, like you were saying, all these crazy fad diets. I had to really switch my mindset and be like, I can't do another fad diet. I think I tried I mean, Atkins, keto, to count your whatever, and things that it just I started really looking at it through the root cause and being like, what do we need to like nourish our bodies? Like, can we do from a very basic level? Hydration, proteins, all those things that we were taught to do and natural, but, we're so long for so many years fatted out like by this culture. And then it really sunk in with my daughters, like how I talk about my body. How do I react to it? Exactly like saying, I'm going to work out to like feel good in my
Mhm.
body and I want to be strong. And it matters so much to me, and I just don't want them hearing, even just like the love wearing shorts today. You go, girl. You wear those shorts, like those positive affirmations. And I want them to see a mom who takes care of herself because, she loves herself. She's not trying to punish or shrink
Yes.
herself. She chooses balance and confidence and strength and respect for herself. So that's the message I always wanted to send to them. And I think that really came out after, I'm not having any more children. The twins are my
Same.
last, so it's like it all really yes, it all really sunk in and just was like, this becomes a part of the voice. You're right, that they hear every day and they carry, I can still think of my things my mom said all
Mhm.
the time, and it really does stick with you, and I just had to make that mindset switch, and I think I show up as a better mom now, and, that's what I really want for them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like it's something hard to do. I feel like especially after having twins, my body has changed a lot and there's a lot of loose skin, a lot of places. And I feel like like yesterday we were in the pool a lot and I'm just like, "Okay, this is what my body looks like now," and I have had 3 babies, 2 at the same time, and that changed my body, and
Mhm.
I'm thankful for what my body was able to do, even though it looks different now, but that is something I feel like I'm constantly working on because the loose skin is hard.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's there and your body, it just went through this amazing experience and there is gonna be loose skin, but it doesn't reflect how you feel in your body or how healthy or not healthy you are, and it's just, they're almost like our nostalgias, like our
Yeah.
reminders,
Yeah.
right, of what we endured and what we went
Yeah.
through.
Absolutely. I think that's such a good conversation and a good reminder, especially as we're like nearing summer, where a lot of us are going to be wearing shorts and bathing suit to have body positivity, especially in front of your children. So I think it's a good reminder. And Yeah, especially with 4 daughters, and I feel that way with just my 1 and my sons, they have always been kind of on the small side, so kind of like on the opposite spectrum, kind of struggling with that, but just talking about body positivity in general is so key, and yeah, having to unlearn a lot of what we saw in the media. They were brutal.
Mhm. Really brutal. Somebody had said about the magazine things, and I was like, "You're so right." I was like, I looked at, like, an old Cosmo thing you see in 17 and all these things, and we're like, "Wow, we were horrible to young
Mhm.
girls," like, telling them what they should and shouldn't
Yeah.
do, so fortunate it's switched. I think it's really switching in this diet fad, and I'm so hopeful and for this generation of girls, being more confident in their bodies.
This conversation is really timely because they just changed the name from PCOS
Mhm.
to PMOS. So, what were your thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
So it always had been PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, and they just switched it to PMOS, which is polyendocrine metabolic ovarian syndrome. And I think for years and years it's been a very it's hard to diagnose as is. Your labs look normal, but all these things are happening to you. Good luck. Here, take some, birth control or things like that, and absolutely could be a solution for someone. But, I feel like it is a whole metabolic syndrome of not just your ovaries. There are so many things happening with your blood sugars, your glucose, your insulins. Your whole body is not functioning correctly, which is then creating all these symptoms and things to come out. And it's just really hard sometimes to manage without the proper supports. And I think a lot of people get diagnosed. I happened to be diagnosed very early on. I had a really great endocrinologist who was like on top of it and like has been supporting me through my whole time. But as especially older later on, maybe through infertility or things, people are getting diagnosed, and it's a really hard thing to just take on all of a sudden and realize like for all these years, like it's not my body just like hating me, like I just can't lose the weight or I just am so inflamed. It's actually something going on hormonally in your body. It's an imbalance and it causes those things. And it can feel so frustrating. I think that the new diagnosis really encompasses all of the symptoms people may
Mhm.
feel, on a range. It's definitely a spectrum. People feel maybe some people have terrible hormonal the acne, some people feel nothing or see nothing. Some people don't deal with the weight issues, but other people do. So I think it's such a spectrum of feelings and how you're doing in your body, but really getting to that root cause and doing some research and finding out what works. Not everybody's body's going to react and do the same thing, but finding what works for you can really make a difference in feeling those, symptoms. And, um, so many people, after the name change, people have been, very happy to feel validated almost like these things I've been feeling for all these years have some connection.
Mhm. And you said that you were diagnosed when you were 16, and how exactly what did that look like?
So I happen to have an amazing, well, pediatrician at that time almost who referred me to an endocrinologist because I wasn't getting my
Okay.
cycles. I just hadn't gotten them. I was definitely had some overweight issues. I had really bad acne. There were definitely, when they did my labs, I did have higher testosterone than I did estrogen. My insulin and my glucose levels were a little off. So there were signs there that led me to see an endocrinologist, and he was like, "Yes, this is, PCOS. These are what you might be feeling." Um, and it always was a big fear factor for me as I got older and thought about
Mm.
having children because of such, this infertility and things that can come with it. I was very blessed that I didn't, have that infertility, but I know so many people who have struggled with that piece of it and the frustration of, these symptoms and how it comes out in your body, and especially the struggle to lose weight and different pieces like that. So, yeah, so I've been dealing with it, but it's definitely something that is still, I think, needs more research and needs more attention. A lot of thing in women's health we need to, bring attention to. And I think it's slowly starting to come that way, like our diet culture, like it's coming back to women's health and kind of how to feel supported in your body and not necessarily just saying like, oh, here you go. This is your
Mhm.
fix.
Yeah, I feel like this conversation is making me also feel or making me also think about, endometriosis, and there are so many other women's issues that just we don't have a lot of information
Mm,
about in general. So
mhm.
hopefully that continues to change and we continue to learn more and have more research and data on all of this stuff. And I know you were talking a lot
Yeah.
about like wellness and nutrition, and is that how you're able to manage your PMOS now?
Yeah, so I do a lot, yes, and I'm managing it well now because like I said, I went down my rabbit hole of researching, and I've actually taken a couple hormonal health
Oh,
classes
cool.
now to kinda educate myself and learn, about things, so that has been, very eye-opening. So, yeah, I'm managing it through, basic things to my body. I'm hydrating, I'm, trying to get my protein in when I can. I'm definitely trying to not be that mom who's eating the leftover mac and cheese and chicken nuggets at the counter because I can't sit down to the dinner. So I'm just trying to make myself aware of those things, just daily steps. Like the workouts I was doing in my 20s, or, I could never do that now. And I had to accept that, like, my body's not where it was 20 years ago. So I got to do things that support me now. I do some like Pilates and some strength, very light daily walks. Nothing crazy, but something that's actually supporting my body and, getting to, the root cause. I try to use products that are non-toxic and EDC free, just for my body and for my well-being. All about balance. Definitely not perfect, in those respects, but I definitely, and become more aware for sure.
Okay, well, what a great discussion. I've loved being able to talk about body image and how we portray that with our kids and the name change from PCOS to PMOS and what that means and how nutrition affects our body and our hormones. I think it's been such a good discussion, so I so appreciate it. And, my closing question is always if you could have a heart to heart with a twin mom or give her a piece of advice, what would you tell her?
So this was so great. Loved our discussion and loved our talk. I think I have kind of two pieces. One for like baby and one for moms like yourself. I think for the babies, you definitely, you create your routines, but hold on to them very loosely. Structure can definitely help your days feel like more manageable and in your control. I love control. I love structure. It's that teacher in me that I love those things. But I also have two older kids, and life is going to happen. Somebody's doctor's appointment is going to happen during nap time, and somebody's sports event's going to be through bedtime almost. So if a nap gets missed or, you have a meltdown, plans are changing, it's not you're failing at all. Your routine's there to kind of like support you and not stress you out.
Mhm.
I had to learn that. I really had to try to learn that and let go some of my control. Like I said, I like it. And so this experience has let me let my control go a little bit, which is like I was so to the point where it's like I was yelling at my husband like the first week. I was like, "You put the bottles on wrong or something," and he's like, "I don't think you can put them on wrong, Lauren. Like there's like, I mean, like I was like, well, that one doesn't go with that piece and that one," and he was like,
Like, right.
"Okay,
Does it really matter?
exactly." It didn't matter. I was just, the control had to be let go, and I finally it's taken a long time, but it's getting there. And I think for moms, it's like it's so hard, but try not to lose so much of yourself in the
Mm.
process. Like try to create those small moments for yourself. A coffee without your kids in the morning, a walk, a few quiet minutes. I've learned so much. I can be a better mom for my kids when I show up and take care of myself too. And we put so much pressure on ourselves to do everything perfect or your house, everything, and you just can't compare. Find your people or create them. Like you create them if they don't exist, because the twin motherhood can feel a little isolating. And give yourself grace. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just keep showing up every day, and that's all your kids are going to remember and ask for. So funny. My daughter said the other day, my middle one, my 5-year-old, all we did was go. My husband had to work on a weekend, and I took them to the park. I took everybody to the park, and it was like, and then we went and got a smoothie at Panera. That's what they wanted. And she came home. She was like, "This was the best day ever, mom."
Aw.
I'm like, "Huh." Yeah, like, it doesn't take going to Disney World sometimes. Like, we went to the park in Panera and you were so happy, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't because you just wanna be with your mom. It all has gone so fast, I feel like, too. It's so long in the blur in my Groundhog Day, but It's so chaotic half the time at my house, especially if you're here from school off or school dropout, and it's just become chaotic, but I cherish it, and I almost like the twins the other night, like I said, they are my last kids, and they didn't want to they always contacted nap on me. I was that person, I was like, I let them contact, that was the only way anybody got sleep, but we were rocking in the chair, and they were, like, squirming, they're 8 months, they wanna move, and I was like, "Oh, just lay on me, just wanna be on me," and I was like, "Wow, that's so quick
Mhm.
already," and so I know it's like a blur, and you're totally like, "I'm never even gonna watch a TV show again," and you will, and so it's just, like, try to cherish those moments, and I think I thought about it a little bit differently knowing these were my last ones, but yes, those moments are like, I would take them napping on me on the couch right now.
Hmm. I love all of that, and it's so true. Like, I am absolutely a recovering perfectionist. Like, with my daughter, I was unhinged. Nap time started at 12. If it is 12:03 and she is not sleeping, it would almost bring me to tears. Like, it was not a healthy level of control that was going on. And then with the boys, it's like after you have twins or multiple children, I feel like you are almost forced to be like, I cannot control all of this. I don't have the brain capacity, and it is not worth having like a mentee be over how someone loaded the dishwasher or how someone put
Mm,
baubles together. Like, I was the exact
yeah,
same way, and it took a long time and having twins to kind of change that, and it really has helped for the better to just, like, let some things go, like, I can't control everything, and I love the
mhm,
piece of advice of, like, try to hold on to a little bit of yourself through all of this. It's like, I know you have a lot of kids, there's a lot going on, but you don't wanna lose yourself in the process. We were talking about, like, telling your kids and saying, "Hey, I will gladly get you a glass of water or milk or cut your strawberries in 5 minutes when I'm done with my lunch," because we are important too, and our needs are important
yeah,
too. And I
yeah,
agree, there's something about the last babies that I've just, like, cherished things a little bit more that seemed really, really hard with my daughter because I know they're my last babies. Even potty
mhm,
training, like, we've kind of been potty training my boys are almost 3, and I would say now they're almost 100% potty trained, but it's been, like, months of, like, "Oh, we're kinda gonna do it. Oh, we're not gonna do it. Meh." Like, I just have there are I guess my point is there are some things I haven't taken as seriously because they're my babies. I know that they will eventually be potty trained, and I'm kind of
mhm,
just trying to enjoy it more, like, the cuddles and the yeah. So, I agree, that
yeah,
was
yeah, nobody goes on that kindergarten bus not
yes.
potty trained or with their
Yeah.
bottles, and took me a long time too to let that resonate and let that go,
Mhm.
but, twins have that funny way of doing that to
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was really good advice and a really good conversation. So I so appreciate your time and especially I feel like coming from a mom who has twins that are only 8 months old, I'm just impressed because I feel like, you're still very much in the thick of it, but you're like just getting out of that like infant state. I mean, still, and I'm just impressed that like you're here
Mhm.
and all of the tips you have were so great. So, thank you so much, Lauren.
No, thank you, and, yes, we're getting out of it, and I so appreciate our conversation, and this was so awesome to, have light conversation with another twin
Yes,
mom.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much. This episode is brought to you by Thrive Market. Looking for healthy snacks delivered straight to your door? I got you. As a mom of three littles, I'm always trying to find ways to make my life easier. I've really been enjoying Thrive Market. They carry all of my favorite organic brands I don't feel guilty giving my kids. It's not just a market for food. I recently ordered a mineral sunscreen stick and fragrance free bath bomb for my kids. Use my link in the show notes to get $20 off your first three orders and a free gift. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy twin mom life to listen along. I hope this podcast shed some light on a topic that's been on your heart and gave you more confidence as a twin mama. If you know a twin mom, please send this her way. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Check out the show notes to be connected with today's guest and get discount codes for brands I love. See you next Thursday. Until then, you were made for this.